Good morning. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city, and it's the conversation on TOS Television Network, your digital first Pan-African news network. My name is Ade Suwalsi. Today on the show, we're going to be discussing something that's an offshoot of what happened, I think, last week in Sokoto State, Nigeria, where a young lady, Deborah Samuel, was murdered very, very gruesomely over allegations of blasphemy. And so today on the show, we're going to be looking at that and the position of Nigerian law. What does the Nigerian law say about all of that? And to help me or to join me in having that conversation is Henry Barnabas Ehi, and he's a legal practitioner. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Adeswa.
Yes, it's good to have you on the show. Now, let's get straight into it. First and foremost, is blasphemy a criminal offense in Nigeria? Is it a crime under or does it exist really under Nigeria's constitutional law?
Okay, we can't start with the constitution first because blasphemy is under Sharia law.
Okay.
And even though in some parts of the South, there are laws that are against religion.
Okay.
Speaking of it. So the question is blasphemy a crime in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Currently, the answer is yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
But we have a constitution that regulates and other laws are subject to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from our constitution, before I even go into the constitution itself, the fact that given that a blasphemy as it is right now in Nigeria is a crime, I can tell you categorically that no law in Nigeria supports jungle justice.
Okay.
So that's where the dilemma comes to, right? Now, the situation of the case you just cited was the fact that there was an allegation of blasphemy, right? And rather than subject to courts, the court system, they took laws into their hands, which amounts to jungle justice. Okay. And that's where the problem is right now.
Okay.
Now, going to the constitution can only be implemented where such customs and tradition are not against natural justice. Okay. So what are natural justice? We have the twin pillars of natural justice, which is fair hearing and you not being a judge in your own matter. Okay. So taking the situation back further, we have someone who was accused of blasphemy, and then of course she was not given the rights to fair hearing in the court system, and then those who accused her were still the persons that actually judged her and executed that judgment. And this is contrary to section 33 of the Constitution, which states that nobody's life can be deprived of except through the court system, execution of the court, which of course you'd have exhausted all your rights of fair hearing, you'd have exhausted all your legal rights, maybe from Sharia court down to the High Court, down to the Court of Appeal, down to the Supreme Court, and then, if for any reasons, probably the crime can be executed instead in that line.
Okay, so but what really is the position of the national law on this issue? You did say Sharia law is subject. If it's peculiar to a particular part of the country, that means it's subject to the national laws.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So what really is the position of the law on that?
Now the truth of the matter is that if you look at the preamble of our constitution, it recognizes that Nigeria is a multi-religious state, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go to section 10 of the same constitution, which also states that the state, that is Nigeria, cannot operate a national religion or a state religion. So now it's a bit complex. Yeah. So when people ask the question, is Nigeria actually a secular state? For me, my answer would be no, because
no?
Yes, if you're going to be a secular state, it means that you cannot recognize any form of religion whatsoever. Oh. Yes. But now we have a preamble that, maybe I could just read that preamble for you so that you get to say, if I may read. Yeah. We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly resolved to live in unity, harmony as one individual and an indivisible sovereign nation under God. Mm-hmm. No secular state was going to talk about God in the Constitution, right? And then it goes down to, so that's it basically. Then we are going back to section 10, which talked about no state religion. So it's a bit complex, really. So for me, personally, that's my personal view. I don't think we're a secular state. If we really need to be a secular state, our preamble has to capture that fact that, you know, whatever we're doing, it's going to be against, like, we're not going to state whatever religion. But already it's going to be a difficult situation right now. So what we should actually push for is religious tolerance, right? And ways of respecting our laws. Funny enough, the Supreme Court had an opportunity to talk about this issue of blasphemy, and for some reasons, they actually stated that blasphemy is a crime in Nigeria. But what they are against is the fact that people will be the one to execute that punishment, which is against our laws. So
it's really blasphemy is punishable, but what the law is against is jungle justice, not
jungle
necessary.
Justice, yes. But there is a divide in the sense that is the punishment of blasphemy, is it okay with the death penalty? But that's for the court to decide. Okay,
but you as a legal practitioner, what is your, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot here, what is your stand, what is your take on this aspect of the Sharia law? Blasphemy, death penalty, what is your take? Okay. What is the limitation? What is it?
Okay, for me, I think number one, what more important is we should push for religious tolerance. Okay. For example, there are various customary rites that happen in Lagos and some part of Edo State, and they tell you that at that so time, no woman is supposed to go out at night and everything. You don't find anybody coming out to say, I have a right for free movement and I have to work. We try to respect such. So I think the case should be of we trying to respect people's religious opinion. Okay. But at the same time, we must coexist, because if we are going to talk about national integration, it means that you're going to have some Christians staying in Muslim-dominated areas. You're going to have Muslims staying in Christian-dominated areas. You're going to have people staying in traditional. But mind you, we always try to put it as if we just have Muslims and Christians, but we have traditional worship. So if we are talking about blasphemy, there are situations where we also talk down on people's traditional religion as being a cake, as being, you know. So it goes. I think we should focus on religious tolerance. Okay. Well, the punishment for blasphemy, if it's that, I don't think that should be, because even in the Muslim circle, there's a debate as regards that. In fact, there are so many Islamic scholars that have stated that there is no punishment for blasphemy in the Quran or in the Hadith, as it were. And there are situations in the Quran that even the Prophet Muhammad was insulted by people, you know, there are people that left him, you know, and all that. And then there was no situation, you know, as regards death, you know. And I think from Islamic scholars, you know, the general view is that it's only God that can prescribe punishments by death. Okay. And no human is allowed to execute such. Okay. And if at all we would say, okay, we want to toe that line, you know, then it has to be through the court system. Okay. And then there's another question of if someone who is not a Muslim can be subject to Sharia law.
Yes, I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, the answer is no, you can't. Because the Supreme Court, in the same case, I can't remember the specific case right now, but in the same case, the Supreme Court stated clearly that the Sharia law can be administered against a Muslim faithful. Okay. So, by deduction, if you're not a Muslim faithful, you cannot be subject to such laws.
So basically, they committed two crimes then, because Deborah was a Christian, so she couldn't have been, so to speak, subject to the blasphemy law and then also
but you know, the facts are really sketchy, because there are so many persons that say she provoked, she insulted the Prophet Muhammad, she committed blasphemy. Either way, now that's the danger of, you know, administering jungle justice, because we cannot hear from Deborah right now, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's why we have to discourage such acts. Okay. Yes. Okay, you mentioned earlier that
Nigeria is our constitution does not, or Nigeria is not really a secular state. Do you think our constitution has not maybe done enough to capture us as a people, as maybe multi-religious, multicultural, and all of that? Do you think there's a flaw in our constitution into that regard? Well,
personally, I think we, you know, you cannot really have a perfect system or a constitution. Yeah. But in the light of recent happenings, I think we need to go back to the drawing board. We need to have a national conference. We need to capture some of these issues and ways of resolving it, you know, in our constitution. Yes, if we are going to state that we are going to be multi-religious, we should be able to specify such, you know, and encourage national integration, because even the constitution encourages national integration. But you know, the issue of now blasphemy is something that everybody has to sit down, because it's something that recurs the year in, year out, that we don't have pockets, you know, situation like this that comes around. And the good thing about it is that we also have people who are both Muslim, who are Christians, who are not even religious people condemning this act. So if both Muslims, Christians, and those who are not religious persons condemning that, then it means that there's a problem that we really need to tackle. Okay.
Okay, and that problem is not our constitution, but us as a people.
Us as a people.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that's about the time that we have for the show.
Thank you.
But thank you for being my guest on the show this morning.
Welcome.
And thank you for staying with me on the conversation this morning. Do not forget that the conversation comes to you every weekday, Mondays to Friday. And that means I'm going to be back here on Monday. But before then, join the conversation across our social media platforms. It's TOS TV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's TOS TV Network. And of course, stream our website, www.tostvnetwork.com, for news, stories, and happenings from across the world. Thank you again. My name is Adesu Asoyi, and please have a splendid weekend.